In today's session, we're going to be trying to answer the question of how do I count in hours? And in order to do this, we're going to be introduced to how many hours there are in a day and the way that we actually divide those hours up to help us tell the time more effectively. Before we begin though, I want you to answer this question. I want you to put these events in order from the very earliest thing to the latest. We've got A, home time, B, morning registration, C is afternoon playtime, and D is noon. So can you pause the video and I want you to place those in order from earliest to latest. A, home time, B, morning registration, C, afternoon playtime, and D, noon. So pause the video and put those events in order. And come and join me when you're ready. Well done for correctly ordering my events. We've started with B, morning registration, which is the earliest thing. Then we have noon. Then we had afternoon playtime. And our latest event was home time. And now we turn to our textbook, and the image we get given to begin this lesson is a group of children talking about time. So the first thing to do is to look at the picture and see what it actually shows. So in the very top image we can see two girls having a conversation, and the question is, when does a day start and end? And the answer is, I think a day starts when the sun comes up and ends when it gets dark. Do you think that's true? The next person thinks, I think a day starts when I wake up and ends when I go to bed. Is that one true? Or is it our third person? I think a day starts at midnight and ends at midnight the next day. So think carefully about what they've said, and I want you to try and answer our first set of questions. Question 1A. When does a day start and end? Is it when the sun comes up and then gets dark? Is it when you wake up to when you go to bed? Or is it from midnight to midnight the next day? And my second question for you, which may be helpful for question 1A, is how many hours are there in one whole day? So question 1A, when does a day start and end? And question 1B, how many hours are there in one day? Pause the video, give those a go, and then I'll look forward to having you rejoin me where we can look at the strategies we've used. So question 1A was asking, when does a day start and end? And the answer to this is, the day begins at 12 o'clock at night. This is called midnight. The middle of the day is 12 o'clock midday, or noon, and the end of the day is the next midnight, and this is when the new day begins. But can it really be the start of a new day at midnight, even though it's dark? Surely common sense dictates that when we wake up and it's light, that should be the start of the day, because otherwise it would be the start of night. And what we need to think about here is the language we use. Although we can say day and night, when we're talking about the date, we talk about it for the whole day. And that whole day begins at 12 o'clock midnight, and it carries on all the way through the morning to midday, noon, all the way through the afternoon, through to the evening, and then we have midnight again. When that whole circle has happened, that's when we can say that we've got a full day. And that leads us on to our second question. How many hours are there in one day? Well, if we look at the image in front of you, you can see now what we've managed to do is we put the times there. So if we look at midnight, midnight is 12. We then count a set of 12 hours until we get to midday. And then from midday to midnight again, it's another 12 hours. So we've got 12 hours which we class as AM and 12 hours which we class as PM. Now we get those letters, those abbreviations, AM and PM, from Latin. And AM means ante-meridian, which means before noon, before midday. And then PM means post-meridian, after noon, after midday. So this is what we're looking at with these times. We've got 12 hours which are before noon, 12 hours which are afternoon, because the moment we've done those 12 hours afternoon, we hit midnight, we start a new day. And if we add those 12 hours before midday, those 12 hours after midday, we get a whole day, midnight to midnight, which is 24 hours. So let's think about this question. How many times does the minute hand travel all the way around the clock in one whole day? Now we know that when we're looking at the minute hand, if it passes from 12, past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and to 12 again, we're looking at counting 12 lots of 5. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. One full rotation of a minute hand is 60 minutes or 1 hour. So obviously, when we're looking at a time where we're saying a day has 24 hours, that minute hand is going to travel around for 60 minutes for 1 hour 24 times, which tells us how many hours are in one day. So that minute hand will travel around 24 times. Now, quick question for you. It's currently 2 o'clock. We can see that on the analog clock. What time do you think it will be in 4 hours? Now, for this one, do I need to be thinking about where my hour hand is going to be or my minute hand? Which way am I going to be able to calculate this most easily? So it is 2 o'clock. What time will it be in 4 hours? Pause the video and give that a go and come and join me when you've got an answer. Brilliant work. 4 hours after 2 o'clock is going to be 6 o'clock. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. And of course it's our hour hand, which is going to be one that we're most interested in, because it's going to move from 2 to 3 to 4 to 5, and 4 hours later is to 6 o'clock. And for our next question, one for you to do, it is 4 o'clock. How many hours later is 9 o'clock? What strategy are you going to be able to use in order to count how many hours later it is 9 o'clock if it is currently 4 o'clock? Have a little think about that. Think about the method you would use, and then come and join me when you're ready. So let's have a look at this question. It's 4 o'clock. How many hours later is 9 o'clock? Well, I'm currently at 4 o'clock and I'm wanting to get to here, which is 9 o'clock. So let's count on. Well, 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock is 1 hour. 5 o'clock to 6 is 2 hours. 6 o'clock to 7, 3 hours. 7 till 8, 4. 8 till 9, 5. So we're looking at 5 hours. It is 4 o'clock now. How many hours later is 9 o'clock? 5 hours is my answer. So now I'm going to leave you with the opportunity to complete those last questions in your textbook. And once you're happy, you're going to move on to the independent work in the workbook. So be thinking about what we're looking at in this session. We're thinking about counting in hours. So be thinking about that clock, that analog clock, with the 12 hours for the AM and the 12 hours for the PM. The 24 hours in the whole day. And be thinking about how to count on and count backwards. So we're thinking about things like earlier, we're going to be counting backwards. If we're thinking about later, we're going to be counting on. So think about the different methods you can use, because of course, something like this number line today could be really, really helpful. Remember, that clock face you look at, it's simply a number line in a circle. So if you stretch it out as I have done here, and then made your AM your ante-meridian before noon, and your PM your post-meridian afternoon, you'll be able to see those hours and see that time more clearly. So think about how your number line can help should you be finding this tricky. So I look forward to seeing your work on this one, and good luck.